All right, we'll get started here. Good morning or afternoon, everyone, depending on where you are joining us from. And welcome to today's forum, Raising Kids, Raising Awareness, a farm safety discussion with Kaitlyn Laws. I am Megan Truxell, the Director of Development at the Canadian Agricultural Safety Association. Thank you so much for joining us today as part of our Kids Farm Safe Week programming. We're excited to have you here for today's forum and to continue an important conversation around farm safety for kids, families, and communities across Canada. For more information about Kids Farm Safe Week, including some excellent resources and articles, please visit kidsfarmsafe.ca. We would also like to extend a sincere thank you to BASF for being the presenting sponsor of today's forum and Kids Farm Safe Week. We couldn't do what we do without you. A quick housekeeping note before we begin. If you have any questions during the presentation, please enter them in the Q&A box. We'll make sure they are addressed at the end of today's session. And thank you again for being here, and I will now pass this over to Tabitha Boot, who will be our moderator today.
Thank you so much, Megan, and hello, everyone. Hope everyone's having a great day so far. I am absolutely delighted to be here with all of you. I'm with BASF Canada, Agricultural Solutions Canada, and I am the head of communications and industry relations. On behalf of the company, just delighted to sponsor this event, this discussion, and CASA. We've had a long-standing partnership and relationship, both thinking that safety is incredibly important, and just delighted to be able to help support farm safety across the country through CASA and all of the efforts each of you make each and every day. And so what I'll do is introduce Kaitlyn, reading a little bit of a bio. She's incredibly accomplished, so apologies, I can't memorize all of the things, so I will read for a moment. Kaitlyn Law's name is synonymous with curling in Canada. As a three-time Olympian and two-time Olympic gold medalist, Kaitlyn has built an exceptional reputation on the world stage, which also includes a world championship title and a world silver medal. With 12 appearances at the Scotties Tournaments of Hearts, she has been a consistent force in Canadian curling and earned recognition early on in her career as the two-time Canadian junior champion, along with bronze and silver medals at the World Junior Championships. Incredibly impressive. Thank you so much for being with us here, Kaitlyn.
Thank you so much for having me here today with all of you. Hello, everyone.
Awesome. So to get things rolling, I'll just start in with some questions. So curious about, you recently taken a step back from curling after an incredibly accomplished career. What has this transition from competition to farm life been like for you personally?
Well, if I'm being totally honest, it is new territory for me. I haven't ever taken a break from curling, and I've been playing for 34 years, which is a long time. But I don't really notice anything right now, as typically this would be my off season. So the changes I think we'll notice will be more in the fall around harvest time, when that is usually my busiest time starting up our curling season. So right now I'm comfortable. It doesn't really feel like anything has changed too much, other than the fact that I feel just a sense of relief and I feel more present, and I feel as though I have an opportunity to dive in more on the farm, which has been really exciting for me.
Very cool. And for people that maybe don't know, what is your connection to agriculture? Have you always lived on a farm? Is this a new experience for you? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
For sure. I was born and raised in Winnipeg, so I am a city girl, was a city girl. In 2024, my husband and I, we built our forever home on his family farm. So we started farming in 2022. We purchased farmland, and that was the year our first daughter was born. And it just seemed to make sense that we knew we wanted to get out in the country, raise our kids on the farm, and we had an opportunity to do that. So in the summer of 2024, we fully moved out to the farm, sold my place in the city, and I am fully a farm girl. But I do have farm
Very
connections.
exciting.
Yeah, I love it. It's been a big change and a big adjustment, but it's been wonderful. My mom grew up on a farm in Ontario, and every summer we used to go visit my grandparents out there. And so I did spend a lot of time on a family farm before, but this is the first time living and fully being a country girl.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That sounds delightful. So before your hiatus from curling, you were juggling elite sport, parenting, and farming. So how did you manage to juggle all of those priorities, and what was the hardest part of trying to do all of those roles?
Uh, the hardest part was just that, trying to juggle all the roles and trying to be everything for everyone. Trying to be 100% in on my curling team, 100% in with my children and at home, and 100% on the farm. So obviously the math doesn't add up when you do look at it that way. So that was definitely the hardest part, prioritizing um, just my schedule and being very organized and planning. It took a lot and a bigger team behind me just to be able to be all in on everything that I was doing, and learning how to take away that guilt of if I am on the road competing, knowing that everything else was taken care of because I put in the time to make sure that my children were safe, and we had childcare, and as well as everything was taken care of on the farm. So I think I carried a lot of guilt before I realized that, if I put in these types of things in place where I'm able to be present with what I'm doing, then I can release that. So it's hard to do everything all at once, but I loved trying to juggle it all. But it definitely took its toll, and I'm ready to have a little bit of a break.
No doubt. I think we think when we're doing so many things, it can be very taxing physically, mentally, and emotionally. And so kind of leaning into that emotional aspect a little bit, how has the shift in pace and priorities impacted your mental health and your definition of success?
I would say this shift has definitely impacted me in a positive way. I have, like I said, always tried to be present with whatever I'm doing. So whether that was while I'm with my curling team, I'm 100% present with them, and when I'm with my children, I'm 100% present with them. So now I was kind of getting to a point where I felt like I was getting burnt out, trying to be everything for everyone. And so I noticed those signs and made sure that I was making my mental health a priority. And I feel that sense of relief already. I feel more energized, and I can be 100% present with my children and have that energy for them to have fun on the farm, and teach them all the things about safety and being outdoors. So I think it's important to really take care of yourself, not only physically but mentally. And this shift has really been a great thing for me so far.
So I'm very glad to hear that.
Mhm.
So curious about moving kind of into farm life a little bit. Did the overlap between the curling season and critical farming time periods like planting and harvest play a role in your decision to step back from curling?
There certainly was a lot of factors, but yes, that was definitely a part of my decision making. Excuse me. I haven't really been able to be fully present and around for those critical times. At harvest, yes, I'd maybe be here and there, and obviously weather dependent. But as I said, that was typically our busiest time in the curling season. And so now I'm really grateful that I have that opportunity to try and figure out what my role is on the farm in those critical times. It's been fun being around for seeding. We're right in the middle of it right now, and uh, it's been good to try and dive in more and take care of some of the things that I couldn't be more helpful with before. So it
Yeah.
was definitely a factor. But there were lots of other things as well that played in that role.
I love the planting versus seeding. You can hear the Ontario versus the Western. You're talking about seeding, and I think I said planting. Um, Always Farm Safe Week article, which was posted on the CASA website and the link in the chat, which is awesome. You mentioned you didn't realize how many potential safety risks exist on the farm. So, what were some of the biggest eye openers for you early on?
Um, early on, I think I noticed the obvious ones, just like the machinery and there. We're on a grain farm. We don't have animals, and so just being aware of all of the things that are around the farm, the tools, the equipment, the bins, the augers, and things that I wasn't familiar with as like growing up in the city. So just the visually obvious things, I think were the ones that I recognized right away. But I've always been a person that is curious and asks a lot of questions. I feel like it's something that a way that just helps me learn new things. And so I made that a priority, and I didn't realize how many questions I would have when it came to safety and on the farm, not only for myself, but once we started to have children. Um, some things that I didn't realize that would be things of concern. Just growing up in the city, we just have regular garage doors, and now we have these great big overhead doors when it comes to having bigger sheds and different places to store things. So things like that, I don't think I realized the potential risks being around, and was told, you know, don't touch a lot of things, which is good because I wasn't going to, but just getting that perspective from someone that grew up on a farm versus someone who didn't. Yeah, there was definitely a lot of things to take into consideration when it comes to safety on the farm, that's for sure.
Yeah. A perpetual learning curve too, right?
Yes,
And no matter how long you've been on a farm.
think so.
So so curious because you have two young daughters. So how do you balance giving them freedom to explore farm life while making sure that they understand safety boundaries?
Yes. So my daughters are 1.5 and 3.5. And so right now they're at an age where they're always going to be supervised. Uh, someone, if it's not me, someone's always going to be with them when we're outdoors exploring. And it's fun for me to see what they are wanting to explore and what are certain things that I can help make them aware of, like their surroundings. I ask them a lot of questions as we play outside, and I try and encourage them to ask me questions. And if I don't have the answer, then I try and find the answer for them right away. But yes, right now it's making sure that they're always supervised, and we talk about safe places on the farm that they can play, areas that we know that machinery isn't going to be. And we try and teach them that like we're going to find out what type of jobs are going on the farm that day so that myself as a parent, I'm aware of are there going to be people who aren't familiar with our place that's going to be coming and going? Is there going to be tractors or combines or whatever machinery being taken out? And then we can obviously let them see all that stuff happening, but keeping our distance and uh, trying to just lead by example and allow them to play, but also just let them know like they can't see you if they're driving in the tractor, or even if they're waving at you, maybe they can see you right now, but if you get too close, they can't see you. So we just kind of try and pretend that they can't see us, and so that we have to keep our distance and trying to not put fear into them because we want them to enjoy their surroundings and enjoy exploring the farm, but just making them aware of those types of situations and their surroundings so that when they are a little bit older, they can play more freely and not have to be supervised all the time.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point about, not being scared, but understanding the potential severity and respecting that and kind of building that foundation from a young age. And then I think as well what you were saying about that best practice of really understanding what's happening on that farm today. Are there people that are visiting that might not know that there's kids that it would be important for the kids to be aware of, hey, and a new truck that might not know that you're there, you need to stay extra far away. I think that's a really great best practice that you're implementing.
Yeah, it's been fun for me even just to talk about the daily things that are happening on the farm. And yes, there are a lot of vehicles that can come into the yard, well, whether it's a fuel truck or someone coming to haul grain for us. They don't know that we have two young children. They don't know if there's animals or dogs or whatever. They're not familiar with their surroundings when they're coming into all these different yards. So it's nice to know what's happening each day on the farm and sharing that with the kids so that they can learn the different jobs and different roles that happen each day.
Nice.
Yeah.
So maybe building on that, what are some simple but important safety habits or routines that your family has built into daily life on the farm?
Yeah, so that's definitely one of them. We talk about what what is happening on the farm that day. We talk about, like I mentioned earlier, the safe areas where we can play when we are outside, and just it's I want them to be not afraid to ask questions, and so I'm always trying to get them to ask me questions so that they're able to explore and feel like they're learning by themselves, and I think that's important too, and just talk about what is safe and what is not. And it's just part of our daily conversation so that it's not something that puts fear into them.
Nice. That's great. So a question about the how did living outside of a major travel hub affect the logistics of competing at a high level, especially with a young family?
Moving to the country definitely changed some things logistically for me. I used to live 15 minutes from the airport, and now I'm about an hour and a half. So for
Mm,
someone who is traveling several times a month, we were gone usually uh, 5 or 6 days at a time, and then home for 4 or 5 days and gone again on the road. So getting to
mm,
the airport is something that was a regular occurrence for me. So I definitely noticed that. And it definitely changed my commute when it came to training. Again, being in the city, I was probably 15 to 20 minutes away from many different curling facilities or gyms. And now I believe I was putting in about 16 hours a week just driving to get to practice. So
Oh,
that
wow.
it more than quadrupled, I'd say, my driving time. And just logistically had to be a lot more organized and planning things out for childcare, making sure that I had all that set up before I could get to the rink
Hmm.
or do the things that I needed to do for my curling life.
Wow. Juggling a lot and wearing many hats.
Yes.
Curious about how you think living in a rural environment affects mothers who work off the farm and then have a longer commute and try to balance all of these roles.
Yeah, I think mothers, we internalize things a lot when it comes to the pressures of trying to be, that everything for everyone. But there's so many positives that outweigh the negatives. I don't even want to call it a negative. It's a commute. And I really do think it's your perspective and your mindset. But we definitely have to be a lot more organized, planning out for each day, each week, what that's going to look like, and asking for help when we need it. I think that's a big thing that some people really try and do everything, and it's can be a lot to take on. So, not being afraid to ask questions and ask for help and put those systems in place, I think is super important. I know that I wouldn't have been able to compete and I wouldn't have been able to be there for my children or be a part of our farm if I didn't have that support and extra help from family members. So I know I used to be afraid to ask for help, but after having kids, I definitely ask for help a lot. And it takes a village in every aspect, no matter what your career or what you're doing, raising a family. It definitely takes a village.
Yeah, no, it's a cliche saying, but it's a
Yeah.
incredibly true saying. So whether you are the needing a village or part of the village, I think that that coming together is can be incredibly fulfilling, and being asked to help is an incredibly nice thing, heartwarming thing for people that I always think about it that way, right? In terms of like when you sometimes you feel guilty asking for help, but thinking about how making the other person feel if they're being asked is sometimes a, very uh, warm feeling, and it's nice to yeah, come together. So you've linked communication in sport to safety on the farm. What does strong communication look like in your household day to day?
Yeah, so in I try and take a lot of lessons from sport into my daily life and into the business world. I feel like sport has taught me so much and has made me who I am. I grew up being a very shy kid, but being a part of a team and learning how to communicate and interact with other people has really helped me be a better teammate for one, but also be a better partner and has helped translate into the business world and into farming. And I can wholeheartedly say that communication on a team has been one of the top things that has helped our teams have success. Open, honest communication, understanding that, the criticism or comments that sometimes can be made may feel hurtful, but we're just trying to learn and try and be better and grow as a team or as a partnership. And so I've learned to not take that personal. Finding out, I guess, in the team aspect when it comes to curling, for example, what my teammates need to be able to perform and what I can do to support them when they're struggling. And those conversations we have as a family or in the business world. And I feel like the more open communication that you can have, that can just create so many pathways to success. So I have always ask a lot of questions, and I know that my partner is ready to help me answer those, and he understands that that's just my way of learning is by asking questions. And by having open communication, he allows me to know what he needs from me in the farm world so I can try and be supportive, whether it's helping get things ready in the morning when it comes to he's getting out into the field or talking about even just bringing meals to the field so that he can continue on seeding right now. For example, it might seem small, but it's something that can, allow him to have more time in the field and not have to be going into the wee hours of the morning or late at night. So just the little things, I feel like open, honest communication can go a long way, and just allowing yourself to be vulnerable will take you far. And example too, as well, just even with your kids, having open communication with them, talking to them about safety and having those that open door policy, whereas if they have questions, I want them to feel comfortable coming to me, or if they get hurt and something happens, then we can talk about how we can prevent that next time or whatever it is. It's just, I think having that open communication is so important and something that you continually have to work on. It's not just
Yeah.
something, hey, let's have open communication and then the conversation stops there. It's
Mhm.
something that we as a team in curling, we always had to work on and always had to talk about. And people change, and as they evolve, they need different things. So just keeping
Mhm.
that door open will help.
Yeah. And I think you were saying about the vulnerability and if you're looking to foster an environment of that communication, being vulnerable and taking that first step to either ask a question or flag, hey, I'd like to unpack this a little bit more, because I
Yeah.
think sometimes it's just that first step that needs to be taken to snowball and help foster the communication that you're talking about, and you have achieved through your personal and professional life. So
Mhm.
great examples. And then finally, what advice would you like to give to other parents, especially in rural communities, trying to balance ambitions, family life, and safety?
My advice, I mean, I'm definitely no expert, I would say that, but my advice would be to be present in everything that you're doing, um, and be proactive when it comes to just trying to, yeah, be present in what you're doing. Often, I'm trying to think of how I want to word this. Yeah, often we're not present in everything that we're doing. So I think
Yeah.
and we try and take on too much. So my advice would be to just try and take a step back, realize what the tasks are at hand and what's important to you, and try and just be all in what you're doing, whether it's when you're with your kids or when you're at your job or on the farm, whatever the task is, be 100% present with that. And I would say I know it's hard when you do have roles and responsibilities off the farm, but I encourage everyone to chase their dreams. If you do have children, they're watching, and I think it'll be easier for them to be able to want to chase and attain their goals and chase their dreams if they see you doing that as well. So don't be afraid to take that leap and chase that big dream because you never know who it can impact. It's a lot of fun when you can release that like guilt of knowing that, if I'm doing this, it might be taking away some time away from my kids, but by doing this, it can help them. And I think there's just different perspectives that you can have when it comes to trying to do it all. But also just, yeah, recognize the signs if you are doing too much,
Mhm.
and take a step back and just figure out what your priorities are.
I appreciate that comment a lot. And as you were speaking, I was thinking about how sometimes I can be pretty guilty of being not realizing that I'm doing too much because I'm like, okay, I can handle it all. But then you really take a step back and you think, okay, but I'm rushing through everything. And so for me, it's like when I'm rushing through a task, that's a sign that I am taking on too much. And so kind of slowing down, reducing the number of things I'm trying to do so that I can do them at a normal pace and what I would say is a safe pace, right? Because sometimes when you rush, that's when accidents and injuries can happen. So for me, that's that threshold to help gut check of, am I actually doing a manageable amount of things or too many things?
Yes, for sure.
um, you're the guest. You wanted to say a special hello, a
Yeah.
quick in and out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Too funny.
I'm in my
Uh,
office or our office right now, and I think he just had to print something. But
He's
things
gonna
on the
have to
farm, they
wait.
never business
Yeah,
doesn't
you're
stop.
focusing on one thing right now.
Yes.
So we have some questions in the chat, which is amazing. So let me see if I can read some of them. A question in the chat about preparing for emergencies on the farm. And maybe what I can do is, oh, somebody's answered it, but I don't know. Does Robin or somebody from CASA want to come on just to clarify where we can get some more information about emergency preparedness or safety information for the farm?
Sure. I can do that. Yeah. So Robin has been answering some questions in the chat. Um, so for that question, we just launched an emergency preparedness hub. So there are links to resources, graphics, and links to specific sector and provincial organizations and resources. So that's at casa-acsa.ca/en/emergency preparedness-hub. There's a link for that in the chat as well for everyone. And if you do know of a resource or a link that we should feature on the hub, please let us know at info@casa.acsa.ca. Robin's also answering the other question in the Q&A as well. That's more safety related too.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Are there any other questions that have come up in the chat or one that somebody would like to ask? Oh, sorry. And I'm finally finding the button. My apologies. I'll doing one thing at a time. Now I'm figuring out how to answer the questions in the chat. So one of the questions is, as someone newer to farm life, were there any attributes towards risk on farms that surprised you? Great question.
Um, in terms of like safety risks or just in
Yeah, I guess attitude. Like, would there ever be like somebody that was like too cavalier about safety or maybe too concerned about safety? I don't know. Did you come across any sort of spectrum of attitudes towards risk that surprised you?
um yeah, I think if I've definitely come across people in the industry where it's like this is how we've always done it and don't necessarily have a different insight into, this is all new to me. So um, I feel like I've been lucky. I haven't had a lot of pushback or people being concerned of me asking questions. But I think, yeah, it's surprising to learn all the different risks that can be associated with being on the farm and farming. But trying to again have the perspective of if you have a plan in place, then it doesn't feel like there is the risks that to be worried about per se. It's just having that proactive plan in place and having the open, honest communication and
Mhm.
conversations about what is going on the farm. I'm surrounded by a great group. I mean, it's a family farm for us, and everyone's been so open and willing to welcome me on the farm, and just being a really kind of seamless transition, I guess you could say. I know that's not necessarily the case for everybody when they come into this industry, but it's definitely been a big learning curve.
A big learning curve is unique and beneficial in a way because with that it's you have fresh eyes. And so kind of curious with your fresh eyes, what are some of the top three safety tips that you would give other farm parents with young children?
Um, I mean, I've said it a lot, but I'd say ask questions. If you're unsure, just make sure you ask questions before you proceed and do anything. And being aware of machinery, where everything is, and what's going to be moving that day. I think it's important to have those conversations. And if you're unsure what something is, don't touch it. That's I try and just get my children. I mean, they're young, and so I'm observing what they're wanting to do, and they learn by touching and feeling and playing, right? So a lot of it is me saying, no, we can't do that, but we'll talk about what that does. And I think that's been really fun because they're seeing it for the first time and similar to me. So we're kind of just learning together as we go. But I would say I'm a very observant person and I learn by asking questions. So I've been trying to dive in by just being as curious as them and not be afraid to, I don't want to say feel stupid, but just like
Oh,
not be
yeah,
afraid to ask the questions because I don't know the answers and
yeah.
that's okay.
And I think that that's a really good thing to lead by example with, right? For your kids to see that it's okay to ask questions when you don't know. That's a really great thing to instill in them. So good
Yeah.
work.
My older daughter, she's very shy and I feel like is afraid to ask questions sometimes. So I've been really trying to encourage her to do that, even just with us, who she is super comfortable with. And I feel like that definitely has helped her with, going to preschool and learning. And she's getting more comfortable with talking about being on the farm and what she can do. My kids have loved going for tractor rides this spring and learning what all the different buttons are doing, but knowing like you can't touch that right now. That's going to affect things down the road. So, yeah, it's really fun just learning with them and seeing through observation and through play.
Amazing. So another question is, how has the intense focus and risk management mindset you developed as an Olympic athlete changed the way you approach safety and childproofing on your grain farm?
Yeah, it's everything I've done through sport, I feel like has translated into this next chapter for me. I've always been a person that's been goal oriented and had a mindset of trying to just uh, have a plan in place and figure out the steps it takes to get to those goals. And I feel like that definitely helps with the business side, the management on the farm. What are our goals for the season and what like our the farming season?
Mhm.
And how are we going to accomplish those and what steps do we need to take to have even just our farmland and our home quarter be more safe for our children and just taking that step back to be just not blinded by the little things has really helped, I think, in the farm side of things as well, if that makes any sense.
Nice. Um, so another question that came in is how do you and your partner manage childcare during the high stress, long hours of seeding or planting or
Yeah.
harvest? Do you need to hire someone?
Good question. So in the country, it may be difficult to find childcare. We're very lucky that we are close to two towns, so we are about 10 minutes from two different towns, and we do have our kids in daycare. Now that I'm home a little bit more, I am they're not in full time, but we have the flexibility to be able to, during the busy times, have them in full time, Monday to Friday. Obviously, farming, it doesn't matter the day of the week. So it's just making sure that someone else is around, or if it's me full time, that's great too. But when I was competing, we relied heavily on the grandparents. My mom, she's been a huge help and always been someone that we has encouraged me to try and chase my dreams. And whether if it was curling or farming, she said she'll support me and help out as much as she can, which has been great. And my husband's family as well. And so we're lucky that when we moved to the farm, we have a lot of family around here that can help us. So we don't have, I guess you could say, the means or resources to hire someone per se, but between daycare and family, that support, we wouldn't be able to do it without them.
Nice. Well, it's incredible and very nice that you have that resource. What's one practical change you wish every farm family would make today?
Hmm, that is a good question. Uh, I don't know if everyone has open communication when it comes to the farm and the farm operations and farm safety. So I think making that a priority, and even if it's just something to check in once a month or just say, like, are there any questions? Is there anything we can do proactively to change that is going to make it safer? Having that check-in scheduled, I think, would be something that's important, and then figuring out, yeah, what we are doing working? Are there any changes we have to make? And then I think just having that scheduled check-in would allow everyone to be able to have comfort knowing that we are having that communication, and it allows everyone to ask questions if there are questions. Sometimes we just hold things in and we don't make time for that. So if we schedule it, then I think that could be something that's beneficial. Even if it's just
Yeah,
a quick
no,
check-in and there isn't anything to change, then that's okay too.
yeah. One of the things that we do at BASF are safety walks. And so it'll be a group that will pick an area and all together go and walk and make it a bit of a game of what are some of the things that you could point to that could potentially be a safety hazard that we should collectively address. And it's one, as you say, it's scheduled, it's built into the routine, and it keeps it, there's no blame, and it's just a collective conversation of what do we notice that could be improved to help reduce any potential hazards. So
I
maybe
love
there's
that.
an idea too.
Very nice.
The next question, how do you deal with mom anxiety when you're not the one physically on the farm with your kids? Well, okay, there you go. That's a real one.
Loaded question. Yes. Hard. It's very hard. I, for so long when I didn't have children, like being an athlete, it's ingrained in you to be selfish, and you have to be if you want to be at the top level. So once I had children, I feel like my perspective on that changed. It can't be about me, it has to be about them. So making a plan, whether it's before, well in advance, figuring out our schedules, what that looks like, who's going to be around to help out, and just knowing that I trust the people that are with my kids when I am away. That's huge, but I can't do anything last minute. I can't just be like, "Oh, tomorrow I'm leaving. Can you do this?" And I feel like the anxiety would be 100% through the roof. And obviously, it's something that you're constantly thinking about. You can't just turn off the mom brain and that guilt or anxiety, but having the best plans in place really helped with that, knowing that I could go and chase my dreams and know that they were safe. And it was harder on me than it's always gonna be harder on me than it is on them. They have so much fun being with grandparents or with cousins or whoever is helping out. The stories that they get to tell when I come home, and then those hugs when you get back, it makes it all worthwhile. So um, hard to shut off that feeling for sure, but the more organized and planning you do in advance, I think that helps take ease the mind a little bit.
Yeah. And I think sharing expectations and then the resources so that the people that you're leaving in the care of your children know how to access the information that you have about what safety looks like and the expectations that the household has and the rules the kids follow.
That's right. And yeah, it's whatever works for whoever's helping out as well. Like it's
Yeah.
one thing to have the guidelines and boundaries, but it's whatever they need to do to make sure that they're safe and they're okay. Like I kind of have to release that control a little bit. But understanding that they are gonna follow those guidelines as best as possible for sure.
So being famous from your time with the Olympics, you have a unique opportunity to be an influencer to others. Do you use that opportunity to share farm safety, and how can we follow you and support you for being a farm safety influencer?
Oh, that's well, very kind. Yeah, it's definitely a unique position. I love being able to share my life openly as much as I can with people. I I use the influencer term loosely, I guess, as I just feel like I'm like everyone else, just diving into a different world. But I am active on social media, on Instagram, and I feel like now more than ever, I'm really trying to dive into the farming aspect, and kid safety is super important to me. So this has been a wonderful opportunity for me to learn more. And like I said, I'm no expert, but I am asking a lot of questions and sharing that part of my life. So if you do want to follow me on Instagram, or if you have questions or things that you want me to post about, I'm an open book, and I'd love to dive more into that side of things and help show, life is can be messy and it's not all just Instagram perfect. It's like try and show it all. And so yeah, I'm happy to answer questions and be a part of something like this is super special for me. So I really appreciate that opportunity to share my perspective and to learn as I go.
Well, thank you for your helping to share the awareness and keeping safety at the forefront for kidlets and adults on the farm.
Yes.
What do you hope what do you hope your kids inherit from farm culture? And is there anything you'd like to see end with your generation?
Uh, One thing I've learned is farmers are the hardest working people I have ever met. I will take that to the grave with me. I fully believe it. My mom, even just seeing her, she's one of the hardest working people I've ever met. My husband, no one works harder than him in whatever he does. So I feel like that's just been ingrained in him from growing up on the farm. So I hope my kids inherit that from him and just being on the farm, learning that hard work pays off and it's important to support your family and if anyone does need help in the community, like everyone is there to help out. It's really been quite special for me to kind of sit back and watch that support, whether it's neighbors or people towns over who, if someone needs help, there's always a farmer there that's going to be there to help. And uh, I know that if my girls learn even a quarter of that hard work, that they could accomplish anything that they set their minds to. So I'm really proud to be raising our kids on the farm and just that freedom of being able to be outdoors and have that space to grow and learn, explore, play, and getting dirty, get in the garden, get in the fields, pick stones, like all the little things. There's just so much that they can learn just from being on the farm. And you don't need to be, stuck indoors or like there's lots of little toys that are taking kids' attention or screens, whatever it is, but now they can just it's so much fun to watch them go outside and play and just grow into strong, confident young women.
Totally. And then something that you'd like to see end with this generation. I mean, I think you've said it before, not asking for help. Would that be something that you would agree with or add to?
Yeah, I'd say try I try and live my life with no regrets. So whether it's if I'm sitting on a question that I don't know the answer to, I would regret if I didn't ask it. And so even just those little things, if you can go about your life with no regrets and try your best, work hard, you can accomplish anything. I mean, never in my wildest dreams would have imagined that I could be a three-time Olympian. So if I can do it, anyone can do it. And I know that I have no regrets in just trying to work my hardest and enjoy the journey. You never know what's going to happen, and life is precious. So I just have to try and live day by day, and if you work hard, anything's possible. But yeah, I think just trying to ask as many questions, be curious, and have fun with what you're doing.
Well, this has been a very aspirational and inspirational time. Thank you so much for the conversation. I think lots of phenomenal nuggets from you, and like I said, very inspirational. And congratulations on all your accomplishments. And we look forward to your continued accomplishments on the farm. But I'll pass it back to Megan to make some other closing remarks.
Sure. I before you jump in,
Yeah.
I just want to say thank you so much for this opportunity, and it's been a pleasure chatting with you. And I hope that everyone has taken the opportunity to, learn something, even if it was just, have that time to have a chat and different conversations. So I appreciate everyone's time and for everyone joining in. It's been nice to be a part of this day with everyone. So,
Great. Thank you so much, Kaitlyn, and thank you, Tabitha, both of you guys for joining us today to celebrate Kids Farm Safe Week. It's such an important week, and you guys being here today really added to it. So thank you. And thank you so much to our audience for so many great questions today. Those were really great and really added to the forum, and I think made Kaitlyn and Tabitha think a bit about what they're going to say as well. So we really appreciate that. And I'd also like to thank BASF Agricultural Solutions Canada for being the presenting sponsor of Kids Farm Safe Week and our forum today. Once again, we could not do what we do without you guys, and your passion for kids farm safety is truly remarkable, and we really appreciate it. So with that, we will wrap up with this today, and thank you again to everyone for attending, and please be safe at this busy season. Thank you.
Have a great day, everyone. Thank you.
take care.